Welcome everyone to those watching and to our candidates. Good morning. My name is Erica Nelson and I am co-president of the League of Women Voters of Glen Ellyn. Thank you for joining us for this forum for Milton Township Supervisor candidates. The League of Women Voters is a nonpartisan political organization. We encourage the informed and active participation of citizens in government. The League works to increase understanding of the major public policy issues and influences public policy through education and advocacy. Although challenged by the pandemic for the past 12 months, we have innovated and continued the League's mission of empowering voters and defending democracy, including hosting candidate forums last fall. And this morning, we are pleased to host this voter information event. It is the 5th out of our 6th candidate forums scheduled this month. The format is virtual. We ask that candidates and viewers eliminate distractions and give the forum their undivided attention as they would for an in-person event. Our moderator this morning is Barbara Yong. She is a member of the League of Women Voters of the LaGrange area. She is a partner in the Chicago law firm of Golan, Christie, Taglia, where she practices in the areas of business law, bankruptcy, and commercial litigation. Barbara is also an active member of many women's rights organizations. Welcome, Barbara, and thank you for moderating this forum.
Good morning, and thank you. It's an honor for me to be moderating today's candidates forum. I'd like to begin by reviewing some of the League ground rules for candidate forums. Both candidates have signed and returned the ground rules. These rules specify the format, time limits, and other rules related to the conduct of the forum. I will be responsible for enforcing these rules. The candidates will begin in alphabetical order with their opening statements. Then they'll alternate the order in which they answer questions. And after the question portion of the forum, each candidate will give their closing statement. Each candidate will be given 2 minutes for their opening statement, 1 minute to respond to each question, and 2 minutes for their closing statement. Their responses will be timed, as you will see on the screen. The questions have been gathered in advance from the public. A panel of experienced League members has reviewed the questions submitted and carefully screened them for both appropriateness for office and to avoid duplication. The event today is being recorded. The League claims copyright ownership of any recording or transcript produced of the forum. The forum will be posted in its entirety on the League's website, social media platforms, and the Illinois Voter Guide. Any other use of the forum recording requires the express written approval of the League. Audio and video must be broadcast unedited and in its entirety, except by media reporting on the event. Finally, I want to emphasize how grateful we are to the candidates who are not only willing to serve in office, but who have agreed to come and participate today. Candidates, please start your video. Excellent. So we're going to begin now with the opening statements. A reminder, 2 minutes. And our first candidate this morning is John Bonino. John, welcome.
Well, thank you so much, Barbara. I really appreciate the League of Women Voters. Very excited to be here. I am a father of 7, and my beautiful wife, Michelle, and I have been in Milton Township for over 20 years. Happy to say that we've had our business here for 27 years. I'm in real estate and nationally run business with bulk sales. Excited to say I'm nationally recognized due to having business in many different states, including Dallas, Texas, and Florida, and Georgia, and Salt Lake City, Utah. So I am happy to say that I'm home now and excited to be stationed here in Wheaton, and very proud to say that I'm also a Milton Township's trustee. And I'm currently, since 2008, have volunteered with the different services, including the food pantry, the CERT team, which I'll talk about, the emergency response team, and also several different facets of the seniors, working with the seniors and different things. There's so many different facets to township that I hope to be able to share with you today, and I'll go into. Very excited to be running for supervisor and glad the opportunity. It gives opportunity when you're a candidate that you can actually go out and talk to the people and find out what the real needs are, and find out what we're not and what we are doing good, and what we could enhance. And I'm just very proud to serve. With that being said, I also want to mention that I love this community. I love the different churches and involvement that I get to be a part of. I'm a drummer, which is very hard to say in an orchestrated situation. You don't want to be the loud guy, but I am a sensitive drummer at that. And I'm very proud to be here, by the way, and thank you.
Okay, and now opening statement from our second candidate, Steve Seamer. And again, a reminder, 2 minutes.
Good morning, everyone, and thank you to the League of Women Voters for having this forum. I'm Steve Seamer. I've been a Wheaton resident for 27 years. My wife and I have raised our 3 children here. They all went to the Wheaton public schools, and thankfully they all have gone through college, and they're all gainfully employed and out on their own. Nobody's living in the basement at this time, as far as I know. I'm a CPA. I have worked I was a chief operating officer for a $50 million insurance company. I've worked as a management consultant the last 12 years. I basically spent my career helping organizations identify and solve problems. In this case, I think in the township in particular, one of the challenges of township government is we do provide a variety of services. And I think the question is with the county, the municipalities, the other townships, park districts, and all the other governmental entities and nonprofit organizations who provide services to the community, what's the best place to do that? Often I would get involved with clients and there's a solution looking for a problem. And I think in the case of government in particular, we really need to coordinate and facilitate all the services that are rendered to the community. The other thing I think, and it's kind of one of the reasons I'm running, is I think the township really let the community down during this pandemic year. We spent over $112,000 on administrative costs in the general assistance fund and gave out, and I'm sure there was more need than this $10,000. So the administrative costs in the township are to me totally out of whack, and we really need to take a very fine look at those expenses across the town fund and make sure we're spending the taxpayer money wisely.
Okay, now we move into the question and answer period. And again, a reminder, you have 1 minute to answer our questions. And we'll begin with candidate Seamer. What does the Milton Township Board do that affects the average citizen of Glen Ellyn?
Of Glen Ellyn? There's a variety of programs that are there now. The CERT program, we do work with seniors through the SALT. It's very specific to elements of the community. The other key thing that the township does is the tax assessor's office, which the supervisor has a limited amount of involvement with. And obviously the highway department takes care of the roads that are outside of the municipalities. I think this is another case where we need to assess what are the programs and services that are delivered to the community, and are they overlapping with the municipality of Glen Ellyn or DuPage County? And how do we make sure we're delivering these services and programs as efficiently and as effectively as possible?
Okay, candidate Bonino, same question. What does the Milton Township Board do that affects the average citizen of Glen Ellyn?
Well, as far as Glen Ellyn, we currently are working with the Glen Ellyn Food Pantry, where we host different things with our van, our CERT van. We go out and pick up food from Costco and deliver it to them. As far as going back to what Mr. Seamer said in his opening remarks, we're debt free. We have, our township doesn't wasteful spend. We do watch everything we're doing. And as far as Glen Ellyn is concerned, we have voices and opinions from the mosquito abatement that we just took over from Glen Ellyn. And I'm proud to say many of those board members are from Glen Ellyn. So they do have a say in that forum, of that pinnacle of service. And we also handle many things that also Steve mentioned, the CERT team, which we train people from Glen Ellyn, but all over. And I'm proud to say that our services in the roads and unincorporated areas are very well taken care of.
Okay, moving to question 2, and we begin with candidate Bonino. What qualifications would you bring to this position that make you a better supervisor than your opponent?
Well, thank you for that question. I am proud to say that with different areas and budgeting and levies through my own business, working with millions of dollars and the rehabs and different, watching over the bank's monies, there is no more powerful entity out there than a bank and their money. So when you're doing business with them, watching the bottom line, watching the dollars, keeping the township debt free, that is my main goal. We have a great reserve that we can also watch over, and I absolutely love being a part of the township currently as the trustee, and look forward to further servicing with Milton Township Supervisor. Watching the bottom line is everything. Communication is also a major component, and I'm very excited to be able to do that.
Okay, candidate Seamer, same question.
As I said before, I'm a CPA. I was also a CPA that used to audit municipalities and school districts. So I'm very familiar with fund accounting and the ability for the township to take on debt. We have a very healthy tax levy. There's not a debt issue in the township, and there should never be, based on the programs and services and how we take care of them. As I said before, I'm also a former chief operating officer. I was a controller. I've done planning for a multi-billion-dollar corporation. As of now, I'm a management consultant. I worked at Accenture and IBM. I've spent my career in organizations identifying and solving problems and making them a lot more effective and a lot more efficient. And serving in the community. I've served in the community as a church elder, head of involved with the Boy Scouts, Wheaton Infant Welfare, and Christmas sharing. So this is just another way for me to serve in the community. I'm looking forward to it.
Okay, now we stay with candidate Seamer. Next question. How would you make township business more accessible and transparent to the taxpayers? And can you offer any specific examples?
Yeah, I'll start with a very specific example. When I decided to run, I was going to go to the township meeting, and I found out in the middle of the pandemic, they were still holding them in person, which frankly is an embarrassment. The first thing we would do is make all the meetings virtual. We would also try to move everything to a digital platform, which is something I'm very, very familiar with in my consulting career. We need to try to get out of the paper business to lower our costs, lower our postage, and also improve our outreach to the community. And if we also do the virtual meetings, my understanding is now the meetings are 12 minutes and you have to show up in person, and they didn't really follow the CDC pandemic guidelines as tightly as maybe they should have. And I know they had a COVID case in the township. So the other thing is to be a lot more transparent and a lot more available digitally than they are today, because right now it's kind of non-existent.
Okay, candidate Bonino, accessibility and transparency. Your thoughts?
Absolutely. So we are going to be doing different things as far as we're having coffee with conversation. I can't wait to start that immediately with different, from townships to county to statewide legislators and candidates that are, these people will be coming in, speaking to us and the public. We will be working with Zoom on that. I plan on updating our current website to make it more user-friendly. And personally, I love the fact that we are going to be transparent. I agree with Steve that we are going to expand out and make it more available and ready available. Those meetings will always be on and available. And also the virtual will have not only mailed SALT communicator, but it will also expand the virtual, which I'm very excited about as well.
All right, Bonino again. What is your view on the ballot initiative to fund a 708 mental health board in Milton Township?
Well, there's a lot of good that I see on helping the community. We do have similar townships that already have that, and I've looked into it, including Hanover Park and Bloomingdale, which seems to be successful. I have heard concerns of tax rises, and you hear of these things, and how do you overcome? You listen to the people's point of view, and that's what I'm great at. I enjoy listening to people and sounding their voices. They are heard. And you know, as far as the percentage of it coming out, it's, you know, when I think of being able to help someone, you know, in a situation, if they're struggling and whatnot, if it is true that the money is as much as a cup of coffee here and there throughout a month, I mean, anybody can afford that. But the worry is of wasteful spending again, and you know, I'm very open to hearing both sides.
Okay, thank you. Candidate Seamer, your opinion on this?
I think it'd be safe to say myself and the Democrats are strongly behind this. We went out and got all the signatures to put it on the ballot. So it's critical, and I think the pandemic year has just shown it's even more critical. The mental health of the community is, I mean, and it's not just our community; it's every community. And this mental health board would help facilitate the outreach to the community in the mental health space. So the Democratic Party and myself are strongly behind this. And it's a pittance in the tax. I know, you know, the Republicans, no more taxes, but this is it's a pittance, and the township does a pretty good job of you know, not spending money. I will give them that. The budget's always balanced, but we need to get out of the community. We should have gotten out in the community over this year. We'll have another opportunity as the pandemic winds down to get out in the community and hopefully help people. And this is another way to do it.
All right, Candidate Seamer, now we're up to question 5. What new ideas do you have for the future of Milton Township without raising taxes?
I think the critical one is, and I'm, you know, as we move through the questions, there are some similar answers to them. I think the critical one is we need to make sure that the services we're offering don't overlap with the county, the municipalities. I mean, even the park district and the nonprofit organizations, and how we coordinate and facilitate with those. And that to me is the challenge of how to not waste money in the community. This year, for example, we spent $112,000 in general assistance to pay out $12,000. We have a surplus in the budget, which is fantastic. But was this year the opportunity to move out of the community and spend some money and not, you know, raise taxes? We have plenty of funds to go out into the community much stronger than we do today, and try to improve the food pantry and make it worthwhile more than 3 hours a week, or facilitate it with another organization that does a better job at distributing food.
All right, Candidate Bonino, what are your new ideas?
Well, I'm going to straighten something out real quick and take up some of my time for it, Steve. I want to mention to you that most of the donation, mostly all of general assistance is donated, just so you know, so it doesn't come out of taxpayers' money, and it's not wasteful. I plan on doing 3 things with the community, and it's helping the seniors, our children, and of course youth and the veterans. And the seniors, very near and dear to me. I want to start a lending closet. I'll go more into that here soon. Meals on Wheels. In the future, I want to make sure that we have ride shares for these shots that I'm hearing a lot of you on the panel are getting today. We would be able to provide that service currently and take the people to the destination, wait for them to get their shots and bring them back safely to their house. Again, COVID free and of course, very, very safe as well. So I'm very excited to be able to keep it green as well. We're going to be doing work with Scarce, Kay McKee, which we have for many years. She's
Move on to the next question, but thank you. Keeping with candidate Bonino, how will you interact with and respond to the residents of Milton Township?
Well, I've talked about it before, Coffee with Conversations, one of the ideas that we can have where people can come in or Zoom and ask questions to the candidates. We also are going to do 8 daily and weekly meetings where we'll videotape and put on YouTube what the ongoings were from the week before and how we've prospered and we've brought on different services or looked at other services to enhance those services. And we'll also do that with the annual. We'll keep those annual meetings as well. I'm very excited to say that we have the senior in law enforcement together, our very own sheriff, DuPage County, James Mendrick, who is heading up some of the SALT communicator, which we can work with these people on keeping them up. You see a lot of bad goings on. You get the robocalls and everything else. So we'll be getting up to date and very excited that he's a part of us.
Candidate Seamer, how will you interact and respond to the residents of Milton Township?
Well, I think one of the things that's pretty critical is, the township supervisor, while it's a very important position, is not the township, right? And as a great example, I mean, one of the things I think we need to do is improve our outreach into the community through the schools. I'm involved in a program called Christmas Sharing that has been around for probably 25 years and at least 15 in Wheaton, where they worked with the school social workers to identify families in need. And those families were allowed, and after we gathered up donations of clothing and food, would be allowed to go to First Presbyterian Church, where I was involved with it. I know Gary Methodist has it and several other churches have it. But we were able to identify the families in need through the school social workers. And they have so our ability to move out into the community and work with these other governmental entities, I think, is the critical piece about how we will get out into the community. Obviously, I have an open door. You can always call me. My phone will be on the website, and you can always email me. But we need to get out into the community in a lot of other ways besides the Milton Township Supervisor.
All right, and staying with you, Candidate Seamer, and maybe this will clarify some things, but please elaborate on the role of townships in regard to providing social services.
That's a great question. The key one is the General Assistance Fund. We also have the Town Fund. The General Assistance Fund has a tax levy associated with it. Today it paid out to the end of March, I believe it was. We had $112,000 in administrative costs, salaries and benefits. The salaries were 70, I believe, and the benefits were 35. And we paid out $12,000 in emergency assistance. So I think the interplay between how we fund the General Assistance Fund and how we reach out into the community to identify the needs passively through the school social workers and get our social worker and our staff out into the community, into the nonprofits in particular, and into the other governmental entities to figure out how we coordinate with them, I think is the critical piece that I would, and I think you got to go in and look at things and figure out what the problems are before you come up with a solution. So that would be the first step.
All right, Candidate Bonino, same question.
So we have many different services throughout, and I wanted to talk about that real quick. We have a recycling program, and I'm sorry when I was cut off before, Barbara, when the Scarce, Kay McKee is really helping us develop some great ideas on how to truly get rid of waste. The lending closet that we're going to be starting that program, walkers, wheelchairs, canes will be able to borrow those. The Meals on Wheels, which I touched on before, we are going to be enhancing so much communication with the people that, and I implore the other side, Steve and his team, to come in and get to know the township. I've been involved since 2008 and haven't really seen any of them come in and be a part. And there's many different areas that we can help. The community can help the township. in volunteering situations, and we can be a part, and it's available. So love to see that, more interaction with the community.
All right, next question, sticking with candidate Bonino. How will you know if the township is doing a good job with its initiatives? And how can you share that information with the public?
Well, I already answered it, and I'm excited that you asked it. We're going to still have the Coffee with Conversations. We're going to have enhanced every week. We're going to be on YouTube where people can come in and see what the week before had installed. We are going to keep up with the assessor and the road commissioner, and we're going to interview, and we're going to keep those communications open for the people. They're going to have an open forum on the communication through the different emails that we send out to the public, where they'll be able to ask questions, and we'll be able to get those answers, not in a month or 2 months or 4 months. It's immediate, and I'll be overseeing all that and making sure my staff will be also on. We have some great people that work in the township right now that give their all. They come in happy, they leave happy, they know they got their job fulfilled and they've helped others. That's why I'm running for this position. I want to be involved with my community, and I'm excited to be there.
All right, candidate Seamer, how will you know if the township's doing a good job?
I think we'll know a good job if we get out into the community and reach a number of families, and more importantly, allow be able to know if we've referred them to other services. The township can supply X amount of services, but the county and the municipalities is another umbrella that we need to coordinate with and facilitate our play. We are a very, very small entity in a large number of governmental entities, and we have the least amount of funds to apply to that. So our role really is to be a coordinator and to move our social workers and the people who work in the township office. It's great that we're going to have coffees and all that, but the reality is that DuPage County has a massive seniors program with Meals on Wheels and rideshare and all that. Are we really going to have another one, or are we just going to be able to facilitate with DuPage County? There's a lot more funds for seniors and youth and everywhere else, and all these other groups at many other levels of government that we need to coordinate with rather than try to start new programs.
All right, next question. Again, candidate Seamer. What can be done to make the Milton Township website more user-friendly so that the community can know what services are being provided?
Maybe start from scratch, to be totally honest. One of my other roles as a consultant was I work with senior executives and create executive dashboards through a variety of software programs. So one of my, I will not say it's first on my list. There's a lot of other things that need to get done, but to go through the website in general and make it a lot more, user-friendly is an overused term, but we need to really sit down and make sure that people, and particularly the people who use it in our community are seniors. They have a different skill set when it comes to websites, and I'm of that group. So although my skill set with websites is probably better than the average senior, I would assume. But we need to go in and take a fresh look at it. And there's so many fantastic website tools out there today that we should probably start from scratch and redesign the whole thing, would be my sense of it.
Candidate Bonino, your thoughts on the website?
Well, we have one of the most innovative websites and in DuPage for sure, and that's with our assessor. Extremely user-friendly. You can find properties, you can find PIN numbers, you can find anything that you need as far as property goes. With our own Milton Township brand, we will have expanded our services online, where you can actually, instead of coming in, you can set up appointments through there. We're going to expand that. Again, that communication where you'll be able to email. They'll have chat live throughout the day, where there'll be dings, and people will know, the employees at our township will know when there's someone waiting for a question or some needs, and we're going to enhance that. And it's going to be very user-friendly. So I'm excited. And I use that term because currently you go on some of the tabs and it's not so.
All right, back to candidate Bonino. Is the Community Emergency Response Team program meeting its initial mission as defined by Homeland Security? And if not, what can be done?
What a great question. I've been with the emergency response team, the CERT program, since 2008, where I heavily got involved. I'm going to say this quick thing that the response team is not just in Milton Township. We have partnered up with all the different townships, and I'm excited to say that they're all being trained right here in Milton Township. We were trained at the COD, but we go out in the field. You're physically out doing search and rescue, learning how to do things. We are enhancing that daily with involvements from like our Sheriff Mendrick, our Chief of Fire, Pennsylvania Avenue and Glen Ellyn are those volunteers. They come out and train and teach. I think it's a wonderful program, from the smallest of fire to surviving the largest of tornadoes. This is a very needed thing, and it helps. One person in a neighborhood can really save many people and lives.
All right, candidate Seamer, do you think the CERT program is meeting its initial mission?
I'd like to talk about kind of all the programs at the township level. John is running as township supervisor, but the current administration has been in there for 25 years. And organizations in general, and this is from my experience as a management consultant and a chief operating officer, get stale. We start a program like CERT after 9/11, and 20 years later, is it even close to what it was supposed to be doing? So I think CERT and all of the other programs need to have a fresh look. And the Democratic slate has CPAs, management consultants, people that have been active in the nonprofit community, and Dr. Kane, who's a PhD in corporate training and strategy and education. So CERT, like all of the other programs, needs to be examined. Is it a great program? Yeah, it's a great program. Should we be doing it in the township is the other question. And those are the two questions that I'm going to answer for every program with the township. Where is the most effective and efficient place to do it, and is it worth it?
All right, next question, candidate Seamer. How will you work to let senior citizens know about the services available to them through Milton Township?
I think we'll work with the seniors to let them, let them know about the services available to them throughout the county. As I said before, there are many, many more dollars in the community that are available to seniors than from Milton Township. DuPage County, Penny Canova, who's the director of operations, sent John and I the latest DuPage County Senior Services PowerPoint. It's 16 pages of beautiful services that are available through rideshare and Meals on Wheels and all the other things. We can't compete with that. We can be a facilitator and a coordinator for those senior services, but the limited amount of funds, which is appropriate for a township, we're really the township assessor in the highway department. And then our unit has this ability to direct people to the proper place to get their services. As far as the delivery of services, you could argue pretty strongly that between the municipalities, the nonprofits in the community, and particularly DuPage County, have much better services that they can deliver. We need to make sure the seniors know about those.
Okay. Candidate Bonino.
Well, I'm so happy to say that there's different facets that we're working with currently right now. The senior exemptions and the freezes that we're dealing with on the assessor side, always available, always by phone, always the assessor, our very own Chris Levan, will personally take looks at the seniors, and it's very near and dear to him as well. We also have a book here that I'm sure everybody received before with our highway department. This goes out on an annual basis. Everybody should have just received that in Milton Township, where a lot of information goes into this handbook, where it's about all of our services on the very back page. The SALT communicator is fantastic, as Steve mentioned before. Wonderful programs in there that you can be updated with, but we also are enhancing. Many of these seniors are getting technical savvy. They can get on a computer, they can go on. So as they give up their email, we can follow up with them as well.
All right, and we're gonna one final question back to candidate Bonino. Do you support any changes to the salary and benefits currently provided to the Milton Township Supervisor?
Well, I've seen a lot of changes here of recent. We just went through our our salaries and whatnot. And sorry, Steve, me and you, one of us will not be getting a raise because we're going to stay just where we're at, which is fine. And there were no raises for the assessor or the highway commissioner. As far as the employees go, there was just a recent raise that was given due to several years of non-raises, and I think those were appropriate. And a lot of no wasteful spending by any means. For business people and the supervisor current looked at those and agreed in full that those raises were afforded and needed. So with the different world right now that we're in, there are jobs available, at-home jobs, and enticing our workers. So we want to make sure they stay right where they are at.
All right, candidate Seymour, your thoughts?
Can you repeat the question, please?
Do you support any changes to the salary and benefits currently provided to the Milton Township Supervisor?
The salary and benefits are fine. If there's one place that we need to look at in the salary and benefits, the benefits, and anybody who's worked at a public company knows the benefits that they had 20 years ago are not the same. And when you look at the salaries and the cost of benefits compared to those salaries in the financials, they seem a little high, to be totally honest. And we do need to take a strong look at that. There's no reason that governmental employees should have better benefit plans than the public. And I know in the General Assistance Fund, for example, the salary is $70,000 and the benefits are $35,000. That seems a little out of whack to me. But once again, I'm a CPA and I'm a management consultant. You got to get in, look at the numbers, figure out what the problem is before you come up with a solution. And that's what I'm good at. So.
All right. Well, now we've concluded the question and answer portion and we move to the closing statements. And a reminder, you each have 2 minutes and we're going to begin with candidate Seymour.
The Republican, the township of Milton has been run by the Republicans for over 100 years. There has yet to be a Democrat in the last 100 years. And as I said earlier, organizations that maintain the same sort of upper management over years and years and years, just like every other government entity known to man, once you start a program, it's very difficult to get rid of it. I think we need to take a good hard look at all of the programs that the township does, how we're delivering services, whether it's an effective program, and I think most importantly, should the township be the one who delivers that service? Today, we start a program and we run it like the CERT program, and maybe it's fantastic, I don't know. But as we move forward, should it be done by the township? And I think the taxpayers expect us, with county government, township government, municipalities, nonprofit organizations, the park district, the library board, to really effectively manage their tax dollars. And I know I sound a bit like a Republican, but I am very fiscally conservative when it comes to this. And as far as being able to run debt, the township is never going to be in debt. So that's sort of a, it's motherhood and apple pie that we don't have any debt. The key thing for the township is to be able to deliver the services, and most importantly, facilitate and coordinate the services across the residents of Milton Township in coordination with the other people that deliver those services. So I would appreciate your vote. I believe I have the credentials, strong management, executive, financial, analytical, and operational credentials to be able to do this job in the most effective manner. Thank you for your time.
All right. And finally, candidate Bonino, your closing statement, 2 minutes.
Well, League of Women Voters, I'm so happy that you guys gave us the opportunity to voice our opinions. And I want to just start off by saying my children are behind me. My wife is behind me on this. I am not going to come into this as a part-time employee. I am going to be the supervisor that needs to be there and wants to be there and excited to serve. I see so many things happening with our different townships. I am the vice president currently of the Township Officials of DuPage, which I proudly serve. I have a 3- and 5-year plan for the township as well. And I can't wait to share that with you on my first few days of office. I look forward to working with the Township Officials of Illinois and the Metro Township Association as well, who keep us involved with what's going on in the laws and the votes downstate in Springfield. We're so happy that we don't have to fly down there and find out and drive down there and find out all this information. We have people helping us with that. I'm going to enhance the community safety of the community by working with Sheriff James Menjick, with opening and looking at more training for the community as much as they'd like from IEMA and FEMA and all the rest of the different, we don't have to pay for these services. They'll come in and train us. I'm also looking forward to a mentorship program that I can't wait to be involved with, bringing my business friends, people like Steve coming in, helping train some of these gentlemen and ladies to help them understand if they need to go to college or they don't need to go to college, vocational schooling. These mentorship programs are everything. I am proud to serve this township as a trustee. I'm looking forward to stepping up. I'm ready for the challenge. And it's not a challenge. It's a part of my life. And I'm so proud to say that I'm thankful for all the major support that I have. Thank you so much.
Thank you, candidates. Your participation is now complete, and I ask you to stop your video. Our time is up for this morning's forum. Thank you for attending. We appreciate your participation, whether you're a candidate or a voter. For 100% nonpartisan election information, please go to the Illinois Voter Guide.org, powered by League of Women Voters of Illinois, and visit the Glen Ellyn League website, LWVGE.org, where you'll also find a recording of this forum. Please join us today at 10 o'clock for our District 87 School Board Candidates Forum. And please remember to vote. It's essential to our freedom and our country. Have a good morning.